attach and detach. To be durable, we need to do both. Imagine this. You're in the Pacific Ocean, surrounded by the rugged Galapagos Islands. You are floating in a rubber dinghy next to a desolate, rocky coast. And you see, as Darwin did, that animals rule. The place is crawling and flapping with fascinating creatures like iguanas and blue-footed boobies. And under the water, some sharks, but your guide swears they will not want you for dinner. And now it's time to snorkel. You're assigned a safety buddy, someone you've never met before. But in the water, you're an instant team. With glances and nods, you check on each other as your sixth sense is on high alert. Your guts and your muscles propel you through the water, just like the animals swirling below. And you start to feel you're one of them. Did you know your smartphone can't do any of that? It can't imagine that scene either, like you just did. You are extraordinary. Take your hug, for instance. We'd make billions if we could bottle it. It's a combination muscle relaxant, pain reliever, and love potion. And you have way more than 6 senses if you count your intuition, your compassion, your curiosity, your sense of humor. The list goes on and on. As human animals, our strength lies in how we differ from machines and what we can do and they can't. But we barely notice our animality, let alone keep it durable. Durable is not the same as resilient. Resilient is more about being knocked over and picking yourself up again. Durable is to be effective for as long as possible, to be strong and secure in mind, body, and relationships. But lately, we haven't been so durable because technology is getting in our way. And it's getting in the way of our kids, too. This is how it happened in our family. Here is the youngest of my 3 children. He is a born explorer, like all little kids. I call them wild humans because they're as free and unplugged as crickets and iguanas. The first years are a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for a kid to work full-time to discover themselves. Each a totally unique bundle of potential. And as they study their world with all their senses, their brains burst with new neural connections. That's how my son spent his time until he discovered screens. He liked TV, as my daughter did 10 years before, but he had more options. So when I think he had enough and I turn off the TV, he'd head over to the computer. And after a while, I'd chase him off that. He'd go for a handheld gadget. But as devices got more mobile, I got more comfortable with that situation. And we'd spend more and more time, he on one screen and I on another. It took me years to figure it out, but I finally realized what was wrong with this picture. If we only have 24 hours in a day, spending too much time in technology crowds out other things we need to do to be durable. And we can get carried away because some tech is deliberately made to grab our attention and not let go. It can override our human instincts no matter how old we are. In France and Romania, doctors have identified a new syndrome in kids under age 4, and it is virtual autism. When toddlers spend hours and hours a day on tablets, phones, TVs, combination thereof, They stop responding when you say their name. You can't catch their eye, and they become indifferent to the world around them. Luckily, virtual autism goes away when kids return to wild human status, when they once again play with toys, with kids outside, and they talk and read with their caregivers, and they have no exposure to screens. What would have happened to these kids if no one stepped in? We get a clue outside Seattle at the nation's first Internet Addiction Treatment Center. The recovering tech addicts there are mainly young men who they would ordinarily be in college. The place is called Restart, and they literally do restart their lives there. They eat well, food that they make. They exercise, they get enough sleep. This is the chore board. If these young men got a hall pass as kids in helping around the house, they don't here at Restart. And they also work hard on durability skills like looking people in the eye when you talk to them, and stick-to-itiveness, and other skills that they need for a job or to manage in life. The co-founder of Restart is Hillary Cash. I asked Hillary how a parent can stop a child from sliding into addiction. And she had a one-word answer: attachment. Attachment is a neurophysiological process that develops between baby and loving caregiver when they gaze in each other's eyes and they touch and they warmly interact. Attachment is how babies learn how to read faces, which is a vital survival skill. When babies securely attach, they usually end up self-confident and emotionally stable. But babies who struggle to attach are anxious, insecure, and agitated. What Hillary and her colleagues worry about is that as parents attach to their devices, they're detaching from their children. And children who can't attach to people default to attaching to devices. So what do we do now? First thing is to acknowledge our human needs. A young person's brain takes 25 years to fully mature. All that time, they need to be attached to caring, loving people. If a child has a well-balanced, well-rounded upbringing, their brain is more like a broccoli that's on the left. It is bushy with dense neural interconnections. But if a child doesn't do that and is spending a lot of time on screen media, they can miss vital developmental milestones, and neural pathways can be truncated, like the broccolini on the right. So, for all kids to have bushy brains, we need to rethink what's important, especially for little kids. We can't put a frame around their freedom. They need to be out there, not right here. They need to be free to know their own operating systems first, and to play with each other freely so they learn to cooperate, and they take chances, and they follow their curiosity. And that way, when they grow up, they'll be innovators and colleagues and imaginers of new and differing ideas. The ideas that will keep our species relevant. There are concerned people that are trying to redesign personal technology to be less gripping. But for the meantime, we have to think before dispensing. When you hear, "I'm bored," we gotta let them figure it out. That's where creativity is born. And for us to attach to people, we need to turn from the screen, put the phone on silent and out of sight, and look in their eyes. There was a quote from philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson that hung on our fridge when the kids were growing up. And it goes like this: make the most of yourself, for that is all there is of you. Don't let anything stop you from being an intuitive, curious, loving, durable human. Thank you.